This is Jack from Alpha Charts with a stocks to watch video. Today is August 8th, 2021. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security, and I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. Also, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I really do appreciate it. It does help me out, and it helps me to keep producing content like this. So thank you very much. Again, like and subscribe. So today we have 33 names plus 2 on my jet fuel scan. But before we do it, let's do a quick market overview. In the end, SPX is once again going to all-time highs, closing at all-time highs. So this little consolidation period resolved so far, at least to the upside. That's bullish, right? RSP, which is even a bigger deal. It's even a bigger deal. Also closed at all-time highs. And again, this was an area that I was concerned about. But again, resolving to the upside took a lot of those concerns away, right? The Qs try to break above this area of interest right here. Came back in, but the trend is higher. So again, it's nothing. Again, it's just an area of interest. I did give it a little pause so far, and we'll see if it continues or not. We don't know, but I think that's a big deal. You know that it's trying to, again, the more times it's tested, the greater it's going to move beyond it. Again, the trend is strong. You know, and just to bond spreads again. I was not worried or looking into this, but they've backed off a bunch. The value line geometric index, looks like it's going to resolve to the upside, and the percent stocks above the 50-day moving average. Once again, looks like it's resolving to the upside. All of that tells me that, I think it's a bull market, right? And so again, that's all for my stocks to watch video. I'm sorry, my state of the market video, which I do every Saturday morning. So if you're interested in that type of content and intermarket analysis and so on and so forth, you check that out. It's also on my channel. Again, it's called State of the Market. All right, but going back to stocks to watch. So I have 33 names plus 2 jet fuel scans. I'm going to go quickly today. So please grab a pen, paper, jot it down, look at the charts afterwards, decide if it's a trade that makes sense to you. Know your earning dates because there's we're right in the middle of earnings season. There's still a lot going on, and I'll try to point them out as we go. But it's up to you to decide if the trade is right for you or not. All right, let's get going. Again, let's go quickly because I'd like to go quickly. All right, GLBE. It's been a monster. It's never closed below its 23-day EMA. So now that we came back in, again, a big day, down day on Friday, volume wasn't crazy high, right? It was below the average volume. So it's a 20-day, by the way, SMA on the volume. So to me, this is like a retest of the breakout, and unless it's not, right? And then if it rolls over, but this is the risk reward I look for within a name, so let it kind of chill out here. You have earnings coming up, but I think GLBE, it could be a big winner. ASAN, it's another one that you had this gigantic breakout, right? I mean, think about it, went from 26 to 75. That's a triple. And so it's just really, really strong. Where does it consolidate? It hasn't closed below its 23-day in this whole uptrend starting from, back in May. So with all that being said, actually hasn't closed below it since May 14th. That being said, it's in a strong uptrend. You got to decide where your risk is on this or where the entrance is. It would have been these spots right here would have been my optimal point. I think I got shaken out. Yeah, I got shaken out on this day right here. I entered it and got shaken out on the same day. Happens. Anyway, going forward, I think this one is still a leader and one that I want to be involved with at some point in the future. ASAN. NTLA. Big gap up. It held it. Had earnings, so I never entered it because that earnings did very well on earnings. And now it's making some kind of, cup, and now it needs to make some kind of handle, right? Once it does that and these moving averages catch up, that's the optimal buy point, someplace, hopefully, here. right? I don't know exactly where, but someplace around here in the future. We'll see if that happens or not. I don't know, but I do love the way this chart looks. It shows obviously a lot of people want to own this stock, and so eventually I want to own this stock too, right? That's NTLA. MYGN. This was one that we watched last week too. It did break out on earnings. Again, nothing I was playing because of the earnings, because it could have broken to the downside too. But it did break higher, a nice 14% day, and then it's moving sideways on decreasing volume. It's pretty much what you want to see, right? So let these these moving averages catch up to it, and that may offer a nice risk reward entry. Maybe it even comes back down, who knows, and comes down to $33. Who knows? That's MYGN. ESTC had the nice move higher this week. Moving averages are moving higher with it. Again, the pullbacks are on much lower volume, which is nice to see. Earnings on the 26th. So a little bit of time. But yeah, this looks like it's moving higher and just consolidating within the range, right? It's a nice little inside day right there. Looks good. It's ESTC. AXNX, AXNX. This is one that I made a little bit of money on, but not as much as I should have because I got stopped out on this day on earnings. Closed at the bottom portion of its range on earnings on a big, 5% down day. And so, to me, that the pressure was going to be to the downside, right? You had all these moving averages starting to curl over and stuff like that. Well, the next day, guess what? I was wrong. A big 10% up day. So now it just needs to calm down a little bit, right? It's these wide, loose range right here. I can't get involved with, but if it starts to chill out, consolidate, maybe challenge up in this upper range of this way, let the moving averages catch up. It may give me another opportunity for an entrance. But all in all, it actually, the reversal was very bullish to me, even if it's on just a little bit less volume, still heavy volume. That's AXNX. Next up is NOVA, solar name. So this one is working on an inverse head and shoulder. As it's pulling back right here, very little volume on this pullback. So that's nice to see. It's right basically sitting on the 23-day EMA. We have the VWAP from, I think it's IPO VWAP. Yeah, IPO VWAP, right? It's a big deal right here. So 31.59. So I don't know if this is going to come back down and try to retest, this 31, 59, 60-ish area, whatever, or if this is going to reverse here. But, those are the areas I'm looking for, right? The 23-day, which is slightly above right now, and the VWAP from the IPO, which, so far has been, kind of important in a lot of ways, right? It held here, it was resistance here, came down almost to it right there. So it's been kind of important. So this is what I'm watching. If it does complete this inverse head and shoulders, it'd be a great buy if it gets above 41-ish. So that looks pretty good. So it could go, again, in the short term, it may go either way, but I'm watching this to see, to tell me which way it wants to move before getting involved. I do love the low volume on the pullback though. NOVA. LTHM. I wanted to be involved with this one, and it just did not give me an entrance in here. I was involved with it back in this area. I made some money, and then I wanted to be involved with it again. It had earnings, couldn't pull the trigger on it, and it just started moving. And I didn't pull on this day, and then obviously on Friday it just kept going, and it looks amazing. So now we wait, be patient. Wait for that good risk reward entrance. In some ways at this point, let it get up to this $23, $24 range, and then give me a low volume pullback, right? That's what I'm kind of hoping for. So let me miss this and maybe get back involved in that general section, but a better risk reward scenario for me. We'll see. LTHM, MP looks pretty good. It already had earnings. This is one I'm involved with. Again, I am involved with some of these names that we're going to talk about today, but I may mention that I am, I may not. But I like this one. I love the risk reward here. It tried to break out. It didn't. That alone is not a killer, but there was some selling pressure. Still up 2.74 on the day. But I like how it's right near the clustered moving averages, has a nice pattern, cup and handle-ish pattern. Real low volume. Seems like people want to be involved in this name. Low volume on the pullbacks. That was obviously earnings volume. So I think this name could go higher, much higher. That's why I'm involved in it. But it's still a very viable range right here. And if I'm wrong, I think this low right there, right? It's the 35, was that 35.22? Low is 35.23. So, if it goes significantly below 35.23, then I'm wrong. I move on, right? And there's very little risk in there. So that's what I'm looking at right now. That's MP. ALKS is next. This one's been a nice winner too. Not for me though. I'm not involved in this one, but I've been watching it for a few weeks, and this has been the base that has been forming. It came back, retest, and literally it's gone straight up since. Here's the earnings report right there. Boom. That was a 6.75. It gave you a little sideways consolidation for 2 days, not very much really. And then just kept going higher. So very strong name, ALKS. Again, needs to consolidate for me to even consider being involved. Getting a little extended here. But if it does, it would be, consideration. ALKS. ENPH, another alt energy type name. This downtrend line has been interesting to me right here. And so it tried to break above it, rolled over. Now it's again sitting literally on top of the 23-day EMA. So it's going to give us a direction Monday or Tuesday at the latest, most likely. And there you go. That's what you're looking for, right? If Monday it pops up higher and that could be, it held the 23-day and it will look pretty good. If on Monday or Tuesday it rolls back over and we start moving lower, then it's a complete avoid. So I like these setups that you're right or wrong really, really, really quick, and you don't waste any time and not too much money being in them. That's ENPH. Crypto's doing great. There's some crypto related stocks that I like. Mare is one of them. I like how it's kind of separating, moving higher. This looks like it at least wants to test this $50 level. That's a nice, decent move, right? It's about 50%, a little bit more than 50% move higher if that happens. Earnings, though, and why I'm not involved is tomorrow, according to TradingView. Earnings tomorrow. So I get to watch from the sidelines. That's Mara. Next up is SI, Silvergate Capital. I like this one if it gets, this is going to be an interesting spot, 119. And with Mara's earnings tomorrow, that could be the catalyst to either push higher or to stay within this range. This is the IPO, the VWAP from the IPO, and it's literally flat, right? It's flat. It's not moving higher. A little tiny curl on the end, maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm watching. I think Mara's numbers will help move it higher. And not only Mara's numbers, but Coinbase. Coinbase looks pretty good, COIN. And this is trying to move out of this IPO base that it's creating here. And it looks really, really good. Here's the VWAP from the IPO. It's hanging out at 279, 270. Yeah, we'll call it 279, 278. But there it is right there, 278.84. According to this, there's earnings on August. No, this is August 8th, so that can't be right. So check your earnings date on Coinbase. But this breaking out looks really, really good. Kind of has that Silvergate look, this chop around sideways, and then trying to break out. Silvergate hasn't made it there yet, but Coinbase has. So I do like that. Again, check the earnings date on that one, please. DT is next. Very strong uptrend right here. It broke out. It's now kind of coming back and consolidating, letting the moving averages catch up. And so, at that point, you got to decide if it comes back into this $63 range, is it something that you want to buy or not, right? I like the risk reward if it does hit the 63. Your 23 days right there. You have this band of areas, supply and resistance right here. So we like that. DT. Snap. Yeah, never use Snap, but that doesn't matter because obviously, 23% move, 24% move, and then they're moving sideways here. It's a great, great look to it. Kind of like that NTLA, big power earnings gap. NTLA looked pretty good. Snap looks, pretty good for that. Moving averages are starting to catch up, which is really nice, right? So again, if it, maybe a little more chop another day or two, let this 23-day keep moving higher. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, it's about 12 days into it or so. So 2 weeks, maybe one more week of 3 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks tight at that point, and that'll look pretty good. Look on the weekly chart. That's nice, right? Big up and then just boom, boom, just nice and inside each other almost. All right, but it looks really good. SGEN. So CGEN, again, nice accumulation volume. It obviously pulled back, from the highs to lows. That was a pullback of 37%. So decent retracement. But now it looks like it's bottoming, right? And we have this area right here that looks important, right? Maybe go up to here, somewhere around there. So it's right there, right? It's right there trying to break out. We got good accumulation. Maybe it's starting a low volume pullback right here. Letting the moving averages catch up. It's exactly what I want to see. And then we'll see. You could potentially buy back into the moving averages or upon the breakout. That's SGEN. Next up is going to be EXPI. EXPI, again, another earnings gap up. He'll follow through the next day. Very nice. And now needs to just chill out. All right. Maybe a low volume pullback. Again, let the moving averages catch up. But this is a nice looking chart. EXPI, again, needs a little bit of time, but looks pretty good. DXCOM, DXCM. Again, earnings gap up, sideways consolidation, holding up pretty well. Nothing not to like on this one. Again, it's extended, so decide what your risk and what reward you need. But again, it's holding up nicely so far. Square's on here. So Square had this double bottom look to it, and now it's trying to break out from it, right? That's a nice little double bottom. If you look at 193 to 277, that's a nice move. That could be, another $80 could go to 350-ish. So I like that. Got uptrends intact, nice volume coming through on earnings. Love to see that. And now it's just kind of needs to chill out. And then, listen, if it holds this area, moving averages catch up, that would be a beautiful risk reward coming up. So that's Square SQ. So I think it's got more in it. We'll find out. All right, here's a low volume stock that came across my board. It's lower volume, right? It's average of 430,000 the last 20 days. So it's a little bit thin, but it has a beautiful uptrend, and now it's moving sideways in a tight range. Looks really nice. Again, this is a really tight little range in here. So yeah. So again, just know though it's low float. So not low float. I'm sorry, low volume. So a little bit less liquid than some of the other names that I'm usually posting on here. So just be careful with that. CDMO. Speaking of high liquidity, let's talk about DocuSign. It's a nice liquid name. And so zooming out to a bigger picture of DocuSign, you have the big run up from 67 to, we'll call it 287, right? Well, that's a pretty nice little run right there, 4x. And then it's moved sideways for literally, a year. Broke out, and now it is trying to move higher again. Now, if you look at it, came back into 20-day. Beautiful. That's right. That's a buy point, right? And now it is trying to consolidate. So it's still in a buy area. Earnings coming up. When you talk about products that are changed the way we work, play, or live, DocuSign has changed the way that we work, right? Everybody is using DocuSign products. So just about everybody. So I think, I think there's a growth story in there. I think it makes sense. And I like it that it's back in an uptrend, right? Been a beautiful uptrend since the last earnings date. DOCU. Datadog, another earnings play, man. So there's been a lot of earnings plays on here that are looking really good, right? Big gaps ups, holding the gap nicely. That's very bullish price action just overall. So you want to look at what bullish market looks like. I think we're seeing it with all these big gap ups and then holding the gap, right? It's only, second day into it, but still, it tried to sell off and the buyer showed up. So I like that, way above this very important area, which was resistance here. Yeah, I like this one. Couldn't be involved with it because of earnings, but again, it moved higher and looks amazing. Here's Net. Net's been a winner for a long time, right? It led the market in May all the way to now. And now it's just kind of moving sideways, consolidating some of its gains, letting the moving averages catch up. Kind of looks like what it did in this area right here, right? No reason to be bearish on it in any way, shape, or form. And I like how, again, the 23-day is at 113, so it's a very low risk in my opinion. And the prior uptrend's higher, so good reward. Could just keep trending higher, which is what we all want, right? Hasn't closed below the 23-day since here, right? Since May 19th. Strong uptrend, net, NET. REZI. Now, REZI is interesting because let's go to weekly. It's easier to see. Here's REZI. Here's from the IPO. Let's just snap on a, see that matters at all. It did over here, but not so much anymore. And I would probably snap on another VWAP right there. And I think this is probably the VWAP that matters. I have one also from here. And I'm not sure if that VWAP matters or not, so I'm going to delete that one. All right, but I think this is a good VWAP right here. And so, but all in all, it's trying to break above this prior area. And it's moving higher. And I think that this is, above 32-ish, 3250-ish. I think that is a great place to manage risk against. And I don't know when earnings are, so just figure that out. REZI, REZI. Sprout Social, SPT. I've mentioned it before. Look at all different levels in here, as you can see. It's just moved higher. Now it's kind of consolidating. Its earnings gap move, holding up nicely above the, that $100 mark. That's always an important level right there. So it looks like it could go higher too. That's Sprout Social, SPT, NARI, NARI. NARI is got this area right here. I'm actually going to just reuse this right there. Here was an area that was important. Maybe you could say this is the area that's important. Could be just a really big area, whatever. But it's trying to come out of it. Earnings this week, so it's going to make its decision, right? Does it beat, $98, $99? We'll call it 100, and keep moving higher, or does it roll over? We'll find out soon. Earnings this week. Z's always been a little bit loose for me, and I've lost money in this name in the past, but it had a nice move higher, and now it's printing, inside day, and so. If this is your cup of tea, go for it. Like I said, it's kind of a looser name and kind of moves to the market easily. But somebody liked it because they bought a heck of a lot of it, right? Heck of a lot of it over 3 days. So that looks pretty good. Again, and let's just go ahead and snap a VWAP from this point right there. I think this one could be an important one, right? I mean, most volume since the IPO. Yep, most volume since the IPO. Big deal. ZI. That's next up is Upstart, UPST. UPST, looks amazing. I love how it came in, held the VWAP from where? The IPO, right? There's the IPO VWAP, held it right there. That would have been an amazing entry. I didn't buy it there. I bought it a little bit later on. And now it's trying to move higher. Earnings, though, on the 10th. But this one looks pretty good. Again, know your earnings dates and be aware. CHWY, CHWY. So it had this kind of, I don't know what you would call this, some kind of bottoming action, broke out, came back, is retesting. Again, if this is a pattern that you normally play, yeah, I mean, the risk reward here is great, right? You know, if it gets below $85, then I'd be out. So it's, you know, 4 or 5% risk, whatever it is, not much. And the reward could be, you know, who knows, right? All-time highs, 110, 120, you know, somewhere in here. So decent risk reward on this one, you know, at least a 5-to-1. And let's be honest, we could even take out these all-time highs too. Again, if it goes below 85-ish, then I'm not interested in this name. That's CHWY, CHWY, DoorDash, Dash. You know, moving higher. Now it's kind of consolidating above this band that has been important in the past. And probably move this down just a little bit. But it has earnings coming up, so just be aware of that. But made this nice little IPO bottom right here, kind of a double bottom, retest, now moving higher. Looks good overall. CRWD, CrowdStrike. Again, made this kind of bottom. Maybe it's a cup with a high handle. That's kind of how I'm reading this, right? So here's your cup. Where's my little thing? Boom, boom. There's your cup, right? And there's your handle. And yeah, so it gets above 270 or so. That's a place where I would manage risk against. You have earnings on the 31st, so a few weeks till then. But this looks pretty good, right? I mean, it could go sideways, it could roll over, who knows? But I like it here. That looks nice. CRWD. And the last one in this group is MDB, MongoDB. Very similar to the end phase chart. You know, they look almost identical. But MDB has this downtrend trend line that looks interesting. Is now trying to get above it. Earnings early September. But yeah, I mean, if it moves higher from here, breaks above the trend line, and even better, gets above this 400-ish level, that's great. I mean, you may want to buy closer here, and you could, you know, have some wiggle room, see what happens with it. But looks really, really nice. MDB. All right. I do have two on my jet fuel scan. First one is BYSI, new one to me. And yeah, came on my radar because, well, it went up 176% in one day. Again, it's not all-time highs. If you go to a weekly chart, you know, on the weekly, it's had some issues in the past, right? It's been as high as 48.38. But let's go back to the daily chart here and look at this. The volume has been insane. So the VWAP literally went almost 90 degrees, right? It was at 80 degrees or so higher. And so this is good, right? Because it shows that somebody is really interested in owning this name, like really, really, really interested in owning this name. And the next day was a pullback, 18% pullback, but on no volume. That is a huge piece of information. So here we go. And the next day after that, it popped back up 23%. It looks amazing. And now we have this consolidation. I don't know if this is going to wait for me to enter or not, but I may use this VWAP as an entrance. Again, this is a jet fuel scan name. So it's going to be, you know, listen, it was 78,000, 100,000, you know, an average of 200,000 shares, you know, and we go up to a 6.99 million. I mean, this is gigantic. This is whales entering this. You know, some fund somewhere bought a lot of Beyond Spring. I don't even know what they do, but I love this name at this point. So looks like I'm gonna have to enter this name, give it a lot of room, because if you're moving this way, you're gonna have to give it a lot of room. Very small position size if I do enter it. But this one looks like a winner. Again, I would love to see one more pullback, even shakeout, maybe to the VWAP, maybe, you know, get in. If it pulls back to 21, that'd be amazing, right? That's right where I'd want to own it, right at 21, but we'll see. Anyway, I like this one a lot, as you can tell, BYSI, and I'm holding Arch already. Again, nice uptrend, sideways consolidation. This pullback's been on much lower volume. I like that. Moving averages are bullishly aligned. It got a little ahead of itself, and it did exactly what you'd hope it would do, and it did it. So I like Arch to move higher. It's a good entrant. You know, I think we're in a good potential position right here. Again, these are jet fuel scan names, which means that they're going to be more volatile. It means that you're going to have, you know, more whipsaws. So position size accordingly, risk tolerance accordingly, if you're interested in names like this. All right. That's what I got for you. So I appreciate y'all watching. That was 33 names plus 2 jet fuel scan names. I think the market looks like it's starting to push out to its next bullish run up. We'll see. I could be wrong. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Find me on Twitter at AlphaCharts365. I post my charts and my scans just about every day in there. So check that out. And y'all have a good, safe week. Take care.